want to convene the meeting, the May 25th meeting of the Barnstable County Commissioners. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I would ask you to join me in a moment of silence while you think not only of our servicemen, who have, some of whom have given their life for us, but also the terrible things that are happening in our country with Joplin, Missouri, and other places, natural disasters which are really bringing a lot of strife. Those people need our thoughts and prayers and also our continuing support. Thank you very much. Today, on public comment, I'd like to frame our discussion by making public comment of my own, and that is that many times there is an unrealized expectation on the part of people that what happens in some bodies should happen in all bodies. I would point out that town meeting is excluded from the rules of open meeting law requirements, so that allows for an interchange of information on a relatively spontaneous level. Elected bodies are not excluded. So if the expectation is that what happens in town meeting, we would have an opportunity to be recognized and be heard, and then have a, let's say, a discussion that would go on, those are not part of what an elected body is forced to do under the open meeting law requirements. I'll add to that we are exploring and hope to come up with what I would call a sustainable method to allow public input that is not onerous on the part of the public. We hope to get that done, shortly, and go back to what I would call the collegiality and the opportunity for discussion. But even at that point, we would only be allowed to take public comment with regard to input, and still would not be able to have a spontaneous discussion of things that were introduced at that time. We'd have to take them under advisement and then consider whether or not we would schedule it for a future time. So having said that, our public comment is going to be for 15 minutes, and you have, and I would allow 3 minutes per person. So with that, is there anybody that wishes to speak in public comment? Mr. Rivnick.
Yes, I'm Preston Rivnick, and I'm from Wellfleet. Before I begin, I'd like to comment, Mr. Chairman, on what you just said. Yesterday I had an extensive conversation with a representative of the Open Meeting Division of the Attorney General. And what he indicated to me was, in fact, when it comes to creating the agenda and the management of the meeting, that in fact each public entity can pretty much decide the rules of the road. And that a lot of the things that we heard last week simply doesn't seem to be the case. So I just draw that to your attention. There seems to be disagreement. Some of the board members, some of the commissioners last week talked to the issue of the discretion of each public entity, and that was confirmed yesterday when I asked many questions of them, reflecting of the way last commissioners meeting was managed. And what I heard over and over again was each entity makes those decisions. Now, when you kind of create the rules. In fact, if somebody stands up and if they want to bring up an issue that wasn't on the agenda and you couldn't anticipate it being on the agenda, you have the discretion. If the entity says that that's acceptable, we go ahead and have that discussion point. At least that's what I was told yesterday. What I'd like to speak to this morning is this is the 5th or 6th time I and many citizens have been attending the commissioners meeting. And each of these meetings we've been raising the same issues and the same questions over and over again. And we've been told that we could expect some responses, some meaningful responses in terms of information, documentation, and an open dialogue with the public. And that's what we've been told many, many times. In addition to that, members of the public have gone to the Cape Light Compact meeting. I know as you chair, you've seen us there. We've gone to the CVIC, the Cape and Vineyard Electric Cooper meetings. And we've been asking the same questions repeatedly, looking for basic information in any democratic system that should be made available. And the officials of those entities should be willing to dialogue with the public, to explain their actions, explain how money was received, how it's been handled, how it's been transferred, and policies decisions. In every one of the instances that I've attended many of them, as many of the people in this room know, and try to raise these issues. And we've had great difficulty in raising the issues. and we've had roadblocks put up consistently. So what I'm here to say, and you don't see as many people as you've seen in previous meetings, and the reason why, Mr. Chairman, is because we saw 48 hours ago on Monday at 10 a.m. when you put up the agenda for this meeting, that what we've been asking for is not on the agenda. We were here, in fact, many of us held our hands up for 10 or 15 minutes trying to get your attention last week, so we're disappointed. A lot of the people were calling me in the last 2 days incredulous. Why aren't these things on the agenda? Why aren't they being dealt with? And all we could say is they're not going to come back to this meeting and to sit here like last meeting, so you don't see nearly as many people as you've seen in previous weeks. What our high hope is and expectation is that I did the research, and I even sent you an email of that. In fact, I read the charter. The board, the commissioners has the authority, has the duty and the responsibility to deal with these issues and to put faith back into the county government and the citizens. And we represent many, many people. There are only 5 of us here today. You know, if we had a much larger room, we could fill this room up many times over. The news media is covering it more and more. State agencies are now involved in it. We would like today, not tomorrow or the next day, throughout the day, not to leave this room until you begin to deal with the issues that we continuously bring up. And we say that with all due respect and courtesy to you, but these issues need to be dealt with and be dealt with authoritatively and finally, so that we can begin having more confidence in the county government. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Yes, Sheila Bowman from Howard.
Good morning. Thank you, Bill. As president of WinWise, I would like to invite each of you, in fact everyone at the table, to attend our lecture series that is happening in June. There will be 3 lectures. We'll give you a handout, but there is one on the 7th, and that is with Lisa Linos, who is the woman who has began and maintains a website called windaction.org. She will be addressing the wind turbine issues in general on a state and national level. Our second speaker, it's actually 2 speakers. One is Nina Pierpont, who is internationally known for her peer-reviewed publication, Wind Turbine Syndrome, and also Dr. Sarah Laurie, who has been studying the health effects of wind turbines in Australia. Our third presenters will be Preston Ribnick and Lily Green, who will be presenting interviews that they filmed in Australia and New Zealand of people who have adverse effects of living near turbines. And all of the lectures will be held at Cape Cod Community College on the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st of June at 7 p.m. At every session last fall, when we held another similar lecture series, we asked at the start of the session how many elected officials were there, how many decision makers for the county were there. I'm ashamed to say that very few were there. So we are trying to make a much more vocal and a stronger appeal that the decision makers on Cape Cod attend these lectures. At the end of every lecture, there will be plenty of time for open dialogue. Anyone there can ask a question and it will be answered, or no one will leave the room until every question is answered. Thank you very much.
Is there anybody
Can I
else?
give you these, sir?
Yes.
Is there anyone else? Yes.
Kathy
Would you
Sherman
identify
from
yourself?
Brewster.
What's your name?
Kathy Sherman from Brewster.
Thank you.
And I just want to encourage you to be asking questions, appropriate questions. For instance, why this booster proposal didn't go through Cape Cod Commission review. Maggie Downey said in December that it was decided at an informal level it didn't need it. To ask what kinds of financial obligations may have been made in grants received toward the project and things like that, and to assure that there's enough financial flexibility with the wind resource that we have, that if an operational control like has been used in wind farms in UK and elsewhere to deal with it, or even what they're doing in Falmouth and Vinyl Haven of cutting out at certain wind speeds, that they can do that, or that they can have reduced noise operational controls, or that they can have computer model addressing flicker. And if it's not going to be an operational control, what town employee is going to be doing it, and how much is that going to cost the town?
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none, public comment is over. At this time, I would ask for a motion to move into executive session to discuss pending litigation strategy for Brewster Wind pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3.
Do we return to open session, or
Excuse me.
just at the end?
I think we
The
need
answer
to,
is yes, I have some stuff to
yeah,
do.
we need to return to
And
open,
to return
and to return to open session.
May I address the public before we go into the executive session?
I don't think it's appropriate.
Thank you.
There's,
So I will move that we go into executive session for the purposes that you mentioned and return to open session.
is there a second?
A second.
Hold it. Let's see.
Mr. Chairman, the chair is required to make a determination prior to going to executive session that the discussion in public session would be detrimental to the litigation position of the public body. Have you made that determination?
I believe I have, based upon the information that I was given.
All right, that's fine. I just want
Should I-
the
should I
I just
make
want
it?
the record to make it
Okay,
clear
sure.
that it's a
Can I
legal
make
vote.
that? I haven't reduced to writing that particular statement, but the sense is that I would not be suggesting an executive session unless I truly believed that the information, if done in open session, would be detrimental.
Right, that's fine. As long as you've made that finding, it's a legal vote.
Thank you for bringing that up. All right, so we have to have a roll call.
Flynn, aye.
Lyons, aye.
Doherty, aye. At this point, I would ask, is there any reason why we should have any member of the Brewster Board of Selectmen as part of this discussion?
And you also need to note that you have counsel,
Yeah,
county
counsel.
counsel, Bob Troy, and
Specific people are necessary to assist the board in discussing strategy with respect to that litigation. You may include those people.
What's the sense of,
I have no problem with that.
I have no problem. If,
All right.
you want to
do
stay?
you want?
I'll stay for a few minutes.
So with that, I would then say that
yeah, now we're in executive session.
We're in executive session, we ask you to leave.
Are not
we're not specifically invited.
Actually, I
We
have
have
to
to
make
do that
that
vote.
motion and the
Tape is
vote
rolling.
in open
Okay.
session, so.
Okay, so you're making a motion.
So I am making a motion that Maggie Downey is going to help draft a letter that we will review and add or delete,
For
whatever
our
we wish,
signature.
to give to Mark, to present to the president of CVIC, who is Charlie McLaughlin, so that they will have a open forum that would be available to the public and any member of any municipality or government to explain the relationship between CLC and CVIC.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposition? It is a vote.
Okay.
Okay, duly
Yeah,
recorded.
yeah,
These
good.
are, and this
And
is,
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I just have two separate matters here. One is a additional memo on the open meeting law on notice requirements as to the list of topics and how it be done. And also the second part of that memo is about executive sessions to discuss litigation. This is for your review, and if any of you wish to discuss it, we can discuss it at a subsequent meeting as an agenda item. And then the other matter is I had two draft proposals of public comment. And neither of these, I'm not suggesting either of these are just prototypes of two different approaches to the issue of public comment. And I would request you to review those, make your own notes, put down what your own thoughts are, and put it on a subsequent agenda so that you can set up public comment. Because as we have now, we have a public comment posted item on the agenda, and there are no rules. And we need to have a set of rules that the board has decides are appropriate.
thank you. All right, thank you for that. You've given each one of us a copy?
Yes, I have.
We have a copy of these policies?
Can you send that to me electronically?
I will.
Okay.
Okay, and I have a question for Bob.
We can't ask him any questions with regard to this at this time, as far as I know.
Well, you cannot, because it's not on the agenda, you can receive documents in open session, but you cannot
Back to that
make
word
any
deliberate.
personal, any comment.
I don't
You
want a
can't-
deliberation, it's just a question.
Okay, well,
There was an MOU that was requested. PNS,
it was a opinion.
that was requested in regards to...
Oh, this is on a completely different topic.
Totally different topic.
Oh, that
And
one
we
may
have
be
not received
executive
it.
session as well.
Okay,
Yes.
so,
With respect to.
yeah, because
I'm not even sure I can
it's
say what it
But
is.
litigation. No, you can't. That's why I'm
we're
trying
not
to
supposed
say.
to identify it.
And you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you do want to discuss that, we need to post an executive session.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll come back and I'll be happy to discuss it.
Yeah.
But,
all right.
okay, is there a reason why it hasn't been done?
The reason why we have not accomplished what we have done is the other party has not given us information that we
Okay,
need to
I
proceed.
need to know that, so we just need to pursue that. Thank you.
Okay, at this point, I would ask for a vote to approve the summary of these actions.
Okay, and I have one question on the summary of actions.
Sure.
Number 11.
To transfer funds for Cape Light Compact.
Yeah, 4. What does that mean?
I don't know, the specifics will be in there. This
In
one,
the
off the
file.
top of my head, I don't know exactly what.
Or to give like something?
I
Number
don't believe
11.
that's from the general fund.
It's not, no. It's not for what we were just talking about earlier.
I think that comes under the administrative management responsibility, not money that's transferred out of the general fund
Yeah.
to Cape Light Concrete.
I'm just asking, because
Okay,
it was
so-
very
Yeah, no, that's
detailed.
Yeah. And by the
Does
way,
that need to be more detailed than what it is?
It
Sheila-
probably should be on
Sheila,
there, yeah.
I want to say this, that if I have appeared to be angry, I apologize, because if you have every right in the world to, let's say, to have me respond to anything that goes on any board or any committee, that I serve on, and I'm more than happy to, to answer all of your questions on it, and be delighted to give you more information. As you know, I can go on for hours about
Yes,
this stuff.
yes.
And given the opportunity, you know how
You're
happy
gonna
that
have to
makes me.
understand.
But knowing that you have to
saying.
leave, we need to proceed.
Yes.
Okay, all right,
go.
okay, all right.
So,
So do you
um,
want to take a vote for the other ones?
All through, yeah, all others with the
Just
exclusion of
hold
11
11,
until
yeah.
it's explained.
Yeah.
So I will I will move the items 1 through 9, and 1 through 10, and 12 through 27.
Okay,
Can I look at this for
sure.
you?
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All
All
those in favor?
Aye.
Any Opposed? Any
yes.
abstentions?
Great.
It is a vote. Okay.
It's a transfer request, the Cape Light Compact Energy Education Program.
Oh,
It's for
Yeah. So they're transferring
$2,000 and
funds.
$3,000.
Within their
This is
own-
for
yeah.
personal education.
And it's within their own
Okay,
funding.
all right,
It's not
all right.
between.
Then I make a motion to also approve item number 11.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote.
Thank you.
I might have to come back up here to
Oh.
some of these.
Can I do
Go ahead.
my county commissioner's weekly report, if you would pass that down? I have a couple things, one of which I do need a vote. I have a request to use the county complex parking area from Mr. Ed DeGran on Saturday, September 24th, 2011, from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. for some supplemental parking for an
What
event
number
they're
is
having.
this? Oh, the county complex?
It's on the county complex,
Okay.
one in the middle.
Is there a motion
I'll
approved?
move approval.
That's, and
Is there a second?
I recommend it's okay.
Okay, is there a second?
It's in a second.
Okay, yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
It is a vote.
Just so you know, I received notice that the hearing on House Bill 2333, the CMed funding bill, is scheduled for next Wednesday, June 1st at 1 o'clock in room A1 in the State House. I thought Pat and I might go and submit some testimony.
I spoke to Representative Vieira about that last night, and he seemed concerned that there wasn't any funding associated with this bill. But I believe there was language in there that was going to assess the problem is, it was going to require the insurers to pay for the
Exactly.
dispatch service on any ambulance run, would be included in the insurance bill, but it doesn't cover Medicaid, and only 40% of the ambulance runs supposedly are covered by insurance.
Exactly, that's exactly
So
it.
there's not near enough money
I think it was only 20% actually passed.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to address.
Well, there's a copy of the bill and a little fact sheet that was put together by
And
Representative Turner's office.
Yeah, and I think we need to address in our testimony that by
That is an
having a
issue.
lack of funding is kind of a waste of time.
That
or
is an
something
issue,
to that
yes.
effect.
Okay.
Why do it if you're not gonna fund it?
Just a couple, I'm sorry, sure.
No, we're gonna just say, go ahead to the next one.
So we will be going up
You
to
should go to
Boston
that
next
because we're
Wednesday.
gonna have to go to the supplemental
Then
budget hearing.
There are 2 supplemental budget requests that have been submitted by,
Oh, yes.
And I'll be able to talk
Delegate
in public
Marcia King.
comment.
well, they'll have a hearing.
Yeah.
Those 2 are $12,500 for overnights of hospitality and $25,000 additional funding for elderly services Meals on Wheels program. Those are both in the 2011 budget.
I would like to make a point that we gave how much money to elder services?
$75,000 is included in this year's budget
$75,000.
and next year's budget.
Which was
And-
an increase.
And
This is an
Barnstable
increase
Town,
to $100,000.
who is the largest recipient of meals, from Meals on Wheels, gives
They
0.
don't provide any money.
So I think that we can turn that and ask the town of Barnstable to take it out of their very hefty
CDBG.
CDBG grants.
Well, I'm glad Pat and I will be in Boston then.
So since that is what they are given those for items such as that, and there's only a very small sliver that is given to them.
Well, technically.
Well, the hearing is next Wednesday at
It is for human
3:30
service needs.
on that item.
I understand it's for human service needs,
So-
but we have given some.
But
I'm saying that's.
they wanna take
That's what I mean, it's supposed to be for human, that's what I mean.
It's,
CDBG
they're
is-
taking it
They
from our
want to take it out
statutory
of our
reserve.
reserve account.
Statutory reserve, yes. We drew about, if I remember right, the last ordinance that, the supplemental, we did submit a supplemental, they did some transfers, but it did take, I believe, 15,000 out of statutory reserve. So there is about 235,000 left in statutory reserve.
Okay, something we're not going to vote on today, though, right?
But if we fund it this year and it doesn't get funded if they vote to fund it this year and it doesn't get funded next year, it's not much of a help.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, so then there's,
So what is the action we're supposed to take on this? We're supposed to accept it, and then we have to go to the hearing?
You don't have to do anything on it right now.
Right,
It's
okay.
for information purposes only.
I
So
would,
we have to go to the hearing to, let's say, if we're going to testify about this, we go to their hearing, right?
That's
Right.
what I would-
that's right. The other thing I would like to put on the agenda for next week is a discussion about the HUD grant, convening agencies that apply for that grant, and the county's role and contribution,
What HUD?
or lack thereof.
What HUD
And
grant?
it's okay that there is a lack.
What HUD grant?
I'm sorry,
The
Sharon,
HUD
you
grant,
mentioned-
there is a HUD grant that comes to this area, and it's actually the convener of the grant writing process, and the convener of that is CAC,
Is this for Lynn Hamilton?
Lee Hamilton.
Okay, Lee Hamilton. okay,
Yes,
yeah.
this is about that salary.
Good
And
idea, put that on the
So
agenda.
so I can't talk about it anymore, but that's what it's about.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Who are we inviting?
We'll
Probably
ask
is
Beth Albert.
Fritz Langer and Beth Albert.
And you know what, I'll ask Estella Fritzinger to
Right.
please, to
Yeah.
be there.
Good idea.
And Beth, okay, so Beth will know about this.
Right, Beth and Estella.
All right. Okay, and you had asked, I think Teresa Martin, you asked me to get Teresa
Yes.
at an upcoming meeting.
Yeah,
as
because we
well,
want to
so
talk
we'll do
about
Well,
communications.
I think the other thing we should take off next week or as soon as possible is the open meeting law. The policy.
Yes,
that was on our
because
document.
we received the
that.
document.
Don't forget, you and I aren't going to be here.
I know, well,
Next week?
can't we meet at 9 o'clock next Wednesday morning?
Yeah, we could.
Could, we are scheduled
there's-
for 1 o'clock already, and we have Lev coming and Tom Cahara to talk about smart
We
transportation.
could meet at 9 o'clock, we could
And
go
we
into
could
And we
recess.
could do the rest of
Right,
that.
And we could
come
do
back,
like,
right.
Come back
yeah,
in.
some
Why
of
don't
that
we do
stuff
that?
could
That's
be
fine.
later.
Right.
Did you
But we
want-
could do the open meeting law thing first.
Right. So
Okay,
one-
did you want Bob Troy there?
I think so,
Okay, so
yeah.
it'll be a question if he's.
Of whether or not
Okay.
he's
All
available
right,
or
so
not.
So, okay.
we'll meet at 9 o'clock, review the documents that we've got here.
Yep.
And then we'll go into recess and then reconvene at a time, later on in the day
Yeah,
for these other
for the
matters.
other thing.
Yeah, and maybe if I could just suggest, he just gave us a lot of information on this, and he gave us two sort of alternatives of ways
That's
to
what we're going to
go.
discuss next week.
And in some ways, he's kind of given us, so if we have maybe we could even put those questions if he can't make it, that way we can get
Okay,
it,
you can
we
just
can
start
take
Yeah, we
care
could
of it.
discuss it
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
yeah.
So let's discuss
I think
it.
it's
We may come
pretty
up with.
simple and
I do too.
straightforward. I don't think it's very
I do too.
complex.
So you don't need him here. If he's
I
available,
don't think
that's
so.
nice. If not,
If we
that's
come
fine.
up with a question that we are stymied on, then we can
Yeah, I think
put
we
off
will.
the decision until we get it.
Okay, that's good. And just so that you know, the Coastal Resources Committee and Project Storm are sponsoring this year's Rain Barrel program. It's the blue barrel for the green owner, is their catchphrase. Barrels are available by
It's 75
pre-order.
bucks.
$72.70 is the discounted price.
Outrageous, that used
Well,
to be
that's-
10 bucks.
Well, these are the big rain barrels, and they're very nice. Actually, I have one from previous years. But the regular price, I think, is $120. So it's a pretty good deal. You have to order them by June 9th, 2011, and there will be 4 pickup sites across the Cape taking place on June 11th or June 12th, depending
Should
on
have
the
had it in
site.
the last 2 weeks.
I know.
We all
Yeah,
wouldn't have
exactly.
needed water for the rest of the year.
You should have received an invitation to the Cape Cod Chamber's annual meeting, which is taking place on Wednesday evening, June
Oh.
15th, 2011, and of course it's at the Coon Mesa Inn.
Mm-hmm.
If you
I wonder
didn't
what
get
that
one
is.
and you want to attend, let me know, and I'll just have Kara do the whole
June
thing.
15th.
Yeah, I'll
June
attend.
15th.
Yeah, I will be almost
I
positive.
have
And
been
finally,
there
I was-
9 times this month for
Becoming a
something,
regular.
I don't think
for
she's back
something,
yet.
retirements, awards. I was there last night
And of
for
course,
another one.
and Bill just pointed something out, so now he has me doubting myself. Tales of Cape Cod is hosting the 10th annual Mercy Otis Warren Cape Cod Award Ceremony. I could have swore Lou said this to me in his message yesterday, Monday, June 6th, but you think it's July?
He said July 6th.
All right, so we're
Yeah,
gonna
July
have to find
6th,
out.
it definitely
Is it
July
Okay.
6th, yeah.
At 7 p.m. in the old Colonial Courthouse on Route 6A in Barnstable Village.
Did you say June 15th?
June 15th.
June 15th
What time?
is it starts at 6 is the reception and 7 is the dinner at the Coon Mesa for the Cape Cod Chamber's annual meeting.
Okay, sign me up.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Sheila, what do you
6
think?
o'clock.
Yes?
That's fine, yes, I will be there.
I
And
think
then
that's
July
all I have.
6th.
And then July 6th, and
Oh, that's a Wednesday too.
I would have swore he said Monday, but I'll go.
No, I know
yeah.
he said July 6th, but usually, he did say July 6th. Maybe we better
I'm gonna check.
confirm with
Yeah,
him
okay.
before we put it
Did
out
Did he say he
there.
was coming back next week? Did he say, I'll see you next week? Oh, but that was because of Mercy Otis.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So, 2
Let's get
weeks,
that
it's
cleared
actually
up.
2 weeks. But I will find out and email it to you.
Okay.
And who was,
I don't know why this is in
who's
there.
I
going to
don't
be
know.
Mercy
I don't know.
this year?
I don't know why that's in there.
What is it?
Well,
Cooperative extension.
You
yeah,
got
but it's already
Lots of
been
use.
signed, unless it has to be signed again.
Is there somebody missing?
It's probably that you're ratifying something. Maybe it's something that I signed or.
It's signed by all, no, it's not, yeah, we signed this already.
All right.
And maybe we're missing somebody, so no, we're all signed. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to sign these things.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
But you're gonna adjourn?
Yeah, I
You have to
think,
go, right?
yeah, I would ask for a motion to adjourn, other than for the
Purpose of signing these, I will put forward a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Just to clarify, you are establishing a new fund, so if you could just initial there, that's what that is. You've already signed the contract for the grant, but you're establishing a new fund.
May I ask one question before we